Did you say infection? Oh, that's bad.
I got bones. I got bones. I got 206. I got 206.
We've talked about Alex Smith's injury before. Bad injury, and now we're talking about a complication. Now, from what we hear, it's an infection. Now, the clickbait on the media is that it's a devastating complication. Now, I don't actually know what that means or what that implies, but the severity of having an infection implying multiple procedures could mean it's really bad or a little bad. But let's just take the worst case scenario. Devastating complication in an infection after a fracture that's open with hardware in. Okay, so what does this mean? Hardware, no matter how clean and sterile it is still foreign body inside the joint. Foreign body, foreign material. Doesn't matter how clean that titanium rod is or stainless steel, whatever they use, foreign body. The body always creates a foreign body reaction. Now, titanium, let's assume it was titanium. It does have a reduced rate of bacterial colonization across the implant. However, there's always a risk of infection. Now it's an open fracture complication. We talked about the risk of infection, and now he's got it. That's brutal. So what could that mean? Now, sometimes you can have just a cellulitis. You know, a little bit of a wound infection from the suture material. Maybe there was a little bit of debris stuck in the soft tissues. No big deal. Take out the sutures, clean it out. Maybe you wash out superficially, put him on antibiotics. He's fine. Okay, this sounds like it's worse than that. Now, I'm assuming, worst case scenario, that it's a deep infection. What does that mean? Cortical bone, intramedullary bone. Intramedullary bone means the bone inside the canal. It's medullary, it's soft. You can put rods and hardware inside. Cortical bone, this is relatively rigid. This is soft on the inside. Okay, got it? So when he broke his bone, you will have to wash out this area. So this was sticking out like that. You clean that out. Once it's cleaned out, and then imagine the other side here. Both sides are cleaned out, washed out, get rid of the debris as much as you can. High saline irrigation. That means you put a lot of volume through there to flush it out. Surgical debridement. What does that mean? That means you cut out what's necessary that's damaged, necrotic, or needs debridement. Okay, so once they did that, they closed it, repaired it, put a rod down from his knee down in through the tibia, and the rod is sticking inside there. Okay, deep infection. What could that mean? The infection was either there's some bacteria that weren't washed out, or it just got seeded. It can get seeded very easily. That's a concern. Take a look at this. Oh, you know what? Let me get this is a shoulder, okay? This is a humerus. This is a shoulder implant, different scenario. However, this is an example. Pretend this is a rod. Now, I do a lot of shoulder replacement, so this is a model that I have here. So, say you take this, and you put an implant into the bone. Now, clearly this is not a tib-fib. However, you see what I'm talking about. Hollow inside, bacteria sitting in there, or they colonize the implant. You put it in there, the only way to get rid of it is to take the implant out. Assuming it's a deep infection, all the implants have to come out. That means the implants have to come out, but you still need to stabilize the bone. So he may end up with an external fixator, because if it is a deep infection, you remove everything, you debride it, you actually have to lavage and clean out inside both ends of the bone, and then you have to bring it back and stabilize it, because one of the other problems with infections is you need stability. That means you don't want the bones moving around, because if you have macro motion, micro motion's okay. You don't see that. It's stable. It's not moving significantly. Macro motion is when bacteria love to be. There's this fluid, there's this matrix, there's this media culture ready to go for bacteria to seed. You don't want that. You need it stable. So he may end up having to get the rod taken out, external fixator, IV antibiotics, wound coverage. There's a lot that can go into this whole matrix of treatment plan and care. I don't know all the details, but let's assume that devastating complication is true. We still need to hope that everything goes well. However, if everything is treated and you can eradicate that infection, you can then plate or rod it again and then get him back. Now, this may set him back 2 to 3 months. What does that mean? Because he has to get rid of the infection. IV antibiotics, minimum 6 weeks to 3 months, depending on the bacteria, depending on his progress, depending on the course. Because if it's a deep infection in the bone, that means osteomyelitis. Bad. So, 3 months, worst case scenario, it'll set him back. External fixator, IV antibiotics, wound debridement, he gets recovered. And then we have to hope that he didn't have to have any significant soft tissue debridement. What if he had a muscle infection? Worst case scenario, let's hope that it's not some type of a necrotizing disorder. Now, necrotizing fasciitis, you may have heard of. It's horrible, it's terrible, you can lose limbs from that. Let's assume it's not that. But even when you're debriding an infection deep inside a bone, osteomyelitis, sometimes the soft tissue can get necrotic. So if he had to get muscle, hopefully not fascia and nerve taken out, then that's a big problem. That can affect his rehab and strength afterward. Athletes can recover well. Alex Smith, I'm definitely rooting for you, but I'm sorry to hear you got an infection. Let's hope you're getting the best care. I know you are. Stay tough.